Hi, my name is Yardina Kurulkar and I'm an artist. I live in Mumbai. Through my works, I explore concepts of identity, mortality, death, resurrection, and my personal life deeply influences my work. In my artistic contemplations, I use very personal subject matter, including my own body, dealing with isolation, with suffocation, personal tragedy. So, all these have always been present in my work. And I think what we are experiencing now, what we have experienced in the past couple of months, is going to surface in my work as well, in some form or the other. I think it will surface eventually. I mean, what we're experiencing is pretty surreal, isn't it? I mean, like not being able to return home because one didn't leave in the first place. The sound of an ambulance, the visual of people standing on the road with a bag in hand, with a lone relative, the goodbye. Is that the final goodbye? I mean, the death march of the migrants, the hope and the uncertainty of that journey. All these things are going to stay with me. I think they're going to stay with all of us. And I think what's going to happen is at the end of this, we're going to find ourselves in the very emotional center of our work, in the very depths of our inner self. This experience may not result in a change in technique or a change in medium. I think the emotional impact will reflect, the thinking, the feeling, the intensity of the shades and hues in the palette. Those are the kind of things that will reflect. So I consider this to be a big pause, almost like being in a vacuum, like being isolated in space. And these pauses, these vacuums are important. They help us to realign our lives. They help us to slow down. They force us to reevaluate in a way, to understand and analyze what fear teaches us. I think, and at the end of all this, we are going to be left with this very, very humbling thought that ultimately we will have to surrender, to something that is far larger and far more powerful than us. Several artists come to mind, not just one. I'm reading a book of the works of Roger Ballin, and I'm very fascinated with his psychological work. It almost kind of pierces into one's subconscious. The blurring of the line that divides fantasy and reality. And he integrates drawing into his photography and video works. And then another artist whose work I'm following is Anselm Kiefer, and he continues to be a favorite, through his writings as well. Moving towards digital does not necessarily mean art education is going to evolve, because studying art is not just classroom based or assignment based. I feel it is the experience part of art school. In art school you learn beyond the classroom. The mindset of being an artist almost creeps into your veins without you knowing it. And I don't know if that kind of experience can be had in front of a computer. I do hope that traditional art education finds a good and a healthy balance with the digital world. Continuing digital legacy was so far limited to updating websites, to documenting the process of making. I mean, at least for me, you know. So, in fact, when I was preparing for my solo show in Chemold in 2018, documenting the process of making was a very important part of that period for me. So, I think what's happening now is that one is more aware of this documented archive, and I think that I'm open to that kind of a digital exposure, bringing out archive data which is related to my practice. I think that the artist is always more concerned with how the work evolves, whether that takes a digital form or not, and other things just kind of take care of itself, in its own dimension. So keeping the process pure is the goal. How it takes a digital form, I will have to explore it further, and I think I'm pretty curious about that outcome as well. I feel that the balance of digital exposure that the artist had pre-COVID was healthy, and it was balanced enough. So I feel that the fear is of overdoing it. Digital platforms, in my opinion, can never replace the joy of opening a gallery door, of staying with artworks, understanding scale in relation to your own body. All these are very sensory experiences, and I'm not sure if a virtual tour around a gallery can do justice, or if it can ever replace. At least I hope not. But eventually every show does get digitized. In websites, it gets digitized in interviews, in interactions. But like I said before, I choose to look at this like a pause, that things will go back to normal, the normal that we knew, and that normal cannot be the ultimate normal. I think I'm hoping that we will clink those wine glasses and just go ahead and hug each other if we want to. One encountered collaborations all the time. We worked with fabricators, we worked with carpenters, we worked with photographers, filmmakers, musicians. But one can't force collaborations. If that doesn't fit your style of working or your personality, then new ways will emerge. Other modes, other methods will emerge, and one can only, I think, wait and watch. But for me, continuing to make art, whether it's in the old way or the new way, I think that is priority, to sustain expenses and to keep creating, and that's important. I do believe that the situation is going to change, that this will pass, and it will pass very soon. This new normal cannot be the ultimate normal. It would, I hope so. I really sincerely hope it will not. I hope that we will learn from this, move on to more enlightened selves. We will work towards retaining our integrity, our sensitivity, and empathy to others, and hold on to those generous selves, our positive selves. One work that comes to mind is Kenosis. I created this work in 2015, and in this work I submerged a terracotta replica of my own heart, which was made with the help of 3D printing technology. I submerged this clay organ in water and recorded its disintegration over a series of 15 frames. The work was really the beginning of subsequent works that I did over the past few years, and therefore it holds a significance in my artistic practice. And it just seemed like a natural progression to move from the outer body to then the inside. For me, this time is to heal, it's a time for survival, it's a time to reflect. And I recently read a poem by Laura Ding Edwards, and she says so beautifully and so simply that if the mountain seems too big today, then climb a hill instead. And if the morning brings you sadness, then it's okay to stay in bed.